Everyone thinks natural disasters are acts of God. The Boston Molasses Flood wasn't. It was a series of calculated bets, each one made by someone who didn't know they were gambling with lives. On January 15, 1919, at 12:30 in the afternoon, the decision to keep operating a storage tank had already been made months earlier. The tank sat on Commercial Street in Boston's North End, a 90-foot-tall steel cylinder holding 3 million gallons of raw molasses. It was owned by the Purity Distilling Company, and the men running it faced a straightforward calculation. The tank was aging, repairs cost money, and molasses kept flowing in and out without incident, so they chose to keep it running. What they didn't know yet, what no one knew, was that the tank had developed hairline fractures in its steel. Molasses is thick, viscous, acidic. It seeps, it corrodes, and in the dead of winter, when temperatures drop, metal contracts. The company had painted the tank a dark brown to hide the leaks, not to fix them. A cheap cosmetic choice made under financial pressure. January 15th, noon. The tank was fuller than usual. A recent shipment had topped it up to near capacity. The molasses inside sat at roughly 55 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to thicken it, making it denser, heavier, pressing harder against the weakening walls. The pressure was climbing. No one was measuring it. No one was monitoring strain. At 12:30 p.m., the tank failed. A seam ruptured, then another. The rupture accelerated, a cascade of structural failure happening in seconds. 2 million gallons of molasses didn't ooze out. It exploded outward. A wave 25 feet high, traveling at 35 miles per hour, rushed down Commercial Street. The wave hit a tenement building. It demolished the structure instantly. It snapped a steel girder of the elevated train track like a toothpick. It swept horses, carts, and people into the molasses torrent. The street became a brown, suffocating river, and everyone caught in it faced a problem they couldn't solve. Molasses sticks. It doesn't wash away, it traps. Rescue workers arrived within minutes. They found themselves wading through a substance thicker than mud, colder than ice water, and absolutely relentless. Pulling a victim out meant fighting the molasses' grip. Horses that had been buried up to their necks had to be shot. There was no way to extract them without breaking their legs. The rescuers were making decisions in real time, with incomplete information, and every choice had a cost. By the end of that first day, 21 people were dead. Another 150 were injured. The molasses had cooled and hardened, creating a concrete-like shell over the neighborhood. It took weeks to clean up. Workers scrubbed the streets with hot water and sand. The smell, fermented, sickly sweet, lingered for months. Some residents reported catching it on the wind for years afterward. Now here's where the story diverges from a simple tragedy. What happened next was a legal and financial battle that exposed how decisions made under uncertainty get defended, rewritten, and ultimately buried. The Purity Distilling Company faced lawsuits. Families demanded compensation. The company's defense was elegant and infuriating. They claimed an act of God, an unpredictable failure, something beyond human control. But the evidence told a different story. Engineers testified that the tank was undersized for the volume it held. The company had ignored inspector recommendations. They'd prioritized speed and profit over maintenance. The tank had leaked before. People knew. And yet, the decision at every step was the same. Keep operating, keep saving money, accept the risk. The courts eventually ruled in favor of the victims' families. Purity Distilling paid out settlements, significant ones for the era. But the company didn't shut down. It didn't face criminal charges. The executives weren't imprisoned. They paid a fine and continued operating. In some cases, they even claimed the disaster as a tax loss. What makes this story relevant to us now isn't just the tragedy itself, it's the pattern it reveals. A company faces a decision: invest in safety or save money. They choose the latter. They calculate that the probability of catastrophic failure is low enough to justify the risk. They're betting, not with their own lives, but with the lives of people in the neighborhood below. The Molasses Flood of 1919 killed 21 people. It injured 150. It destroyed homes and livelihoods. And it happened not because of nature, but because a series of people, engineers, managers, owners, made decisions under pressure, with incomplete information, prioritizing cost over caution. Each decision seemed reasonable in isolation. Together, they were catastrophic. Today, we have building codes, safety inspections, and regulatory oversight that exist partly because of what happened on Commercial Street. But the fundamental tension remains: profit versus precaution, cost versus safety. And every company, every institution, still faces versions of that same calculation. The difference is that now, we know what the answer should be. The unsettling part isn't just that it happened, it's that we can see, in hindsight, exactly which decisions led to catastrophe. And we can see in the present, the same decisions being made again in different industries with different materials, but the same logic. Someone, somewhere, is choosing cost over caution right now, and they don't know yet what that choice will cost. The molasses still stains the pavement in Boston, if you know where to look. Not literally, the city cleaned it up, but the scar remains in the neighborhood's memory, in the families who lost people, in the regulatory framework that followed. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. And the rhyme scheme of this disaster echoes through every risk calculation made since. Subscribe for more unsolved industrial mysteries and the hidden decisions that shaped history. There's a new catastrophe waiting to be understood.